Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of Learn This Deck with the brilliant and awesome Dreaming with Tarot. And yes, since we finished looking at the major arcanas day before yesterday, and we looked at the story of the major arcana all together yesterday. So today, as I said, we will be starting with the suit of wands. Now, before we begin with this, let me just give you a quick sort of overview of what wands are all about. Wands are associated with the element of fire. Now, it's good to remember this way, because or if you are like me, and you have a visual sort of a memory, you can always, this is how I remember it, right? All the four elements, all the four suits are associated with different elements, and wands are associated with fire. And I always imagine, like, at least in the beginning when I had to really remember this, I would imagine a wand, from like the one we will see in the Ace of Wands, which is on fire, like in those movies where the adventurers get into those caves with those things in their hands, which like torches. Yeah, I don't know what other word to call it. The wand which is on fire. So wands are associated with the suit, with the element of fire. Okay. And what is the element of fire all about? So imagine some, like a fire blazing, burning. It's passionate. It's all about your drive to go and do something. You need that. Remember the phrase fire in your belly? You need that to sort of get into anything, really. It's all about energy in that way. It's about, it could, so all in that way it manifests in the areas where you need that passion, where you need that drive. So it could be your work, it could even be your sex life, it could be creative energy, it could be anything like that, where you need to have that passion, you need to have that enthusiasm, that zeal, that whole fire, sort of energy around you to get things done. And yes, it is a masculine suit, because four suits are divided into masculine and feminine as well. So I will talk about this a little bit at the beginning of each suit, so don't worry. Okay, so this is what wands are all about: their fire, their passion, their energy, their drive. They are creative, they're about sex, they're about work, they're about all these things, and they're very, very masculine, and so they are aggressive, right? That's how the energy of uh, fire or wands is kind of expressed in the world. So the card we're going to look at today is the Ace of Wands, and that's how this card looks like in the Dreaming Way Tarot. So let's begin with our analysis. The environment, that is the background. Now here we start seeing something new, I would say, and compared to the major arcana, there's something going on here in the background. We see a very lush green meadow. There are all these trees. There's even a little tiny path, snaking through that meadow. It's beautiful, isn't it? The whole environment. It looks really nice and pleasant and inviting. And the person, now instead of person, try to think of it as foreground, because if the environment is the background, then in the Ace we have the foreground, and in the foreground we see this big wand, and it's not a dead piece of wood, because you can see all the green leaves that are sprouting from it, right? That is the whole point. It's not dead, it's alive, because it's all about the fire. But because this is an Ace, and if you go through the LWB, the deck creator has a very beautiful write-up between the the major and the minors, and I thought I would maybe do a video about that first, but I said no, let me just go ahead with this video. Maybe one of these days, if I feel inclined, I'm gonna make, I am inspired actually to make a video about what he has mentioned over there. It's very interesting, when you look at it. But anyway, so this is a live wand, this is an ace, so this is a beginning, this is the starting, this is the number one. And again, there's a whole lot of numerology there. And by no means am I an expert, so, but one is about beginnings, one is about existence according to the LWB. And so this is the ace, this is where it starts, and this is the one single one, but it is bringing in that passion, that energy, and it is starting sort of the journey. So obviously that's the symbol. The wand is all about fire, passion, energy, all of that good stuff. And the greenery in the background, that meadow, the tree, all of it is about growth, it's about abundance, it's about prosperity. So all this energy, all this passion is towards their end, right? Who doesn't want to make their life a good place? Hmm? So I looked into the LWB, and compared to the major arcanas, in the minor arcanas, there's really uh, not much in terms of text. All the minor arcana cards, descriptions in the LWB, are only sort of keywords for upright and reversed. So I'm just going to talk about the keywords that sort of stood out for me. Upright, the keywords were passionate, hot-tempered, and taking initiative. So, hot-tempered is also an interesting keyword, that sort of key phrase that sort of stood out for me, because I can relate to it sometimes. And reverse, however, it was talking about loss of interest. That also happens. And then we have one more very interesting one, which is called the untapped talent. So that was something that I had never really thought of before. Untapped talent. How interesting. So, what were my keywords? Upright. The Ace of Wands suggested that a period where one would get all kinds of different ideas for projects and stuff, like when I get this card in a daily reading or something for myself, I keep getting all these story ideas that day. So yeah, it's like this is the idea generation card. This is the card that comes up when something new is gonna pop up in your head, and it's got to do with work, it's got to do with something creative, something where your passionate sort of inputs or energies are required. So that's it. Although I haven't written this keyword here, but because we're talking about this card can also pop up when you find yourself drawn towards another person in a sexual way. I'm telling this specifically. It's not. It could be romantic and all of that, but this card, because it's all fire, it's primarily having that very sexual attraction kind of energy there. So that could also be that beginning part of it. It's just the beginnings of it, right? This one is also meaning ready to go. It's like all that, yes, let's start. When you get these ideas, or sometimes you already have an idea, and then it's that day and you're like, come on, let me just get down to it. Let me pull out my index cards and let me start writing the plot points, or all that energy which says, come on, today is the day, right? That's the ready to go thing. Yes, and this card is all about someone who is full of enthusiasm. His energy is on a high. His or her energy is on that it's burning. It's like in your face. It's like this guy's like, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. Also, again, I don't know why I did not write it. Maybe I'm thinking about it now. Probably that's the thing. Because this card typically also stands for a very male sort of sexual energy, because it is a very standard typical phallic symbol. Even the Ace of Swords is like that. So this card can suggest a very male energy in terms of sexual desire popping up. So in readings, especially when you're talking romantic readings, there could be, the Ace of Wands, the Ace of Cups, And all these aces could be, that's just that slight little distinction between sexual attraction and emotional attraction. You see where I'm going with this, right? Okay, so we'll talk more about it when we get to the cup suit, I guess. That's when it'll be a little bit more clearer. But what happens now when this ace becomes reversed, right? It's not necessarily now floating so majestically the way it was before, and it's all topsy-turvy. So that suggests that the ideas that you're getting are weak. So it is a creative period in that way, because the ones have shown up, because it's the ace. So there is something new brewing, there's something bubbling up the surface, but those ideas may not necessarily be something powerful, something that will be like, yeah, this is it. It may be worthwhile, because this is again personal experience. Like sometimes you get all these random story ideas. I'm saying story ideas because I'm a writer, but it could be any kind of idea for you. It could be work projects, business projects. But sometimes those ideas are not necessarily something you can take then and there and really run with it, or say, oh yeah, this story, I'm inspired, I'm going to sit and write all night. No. So at that time, what I usually started doing is I started writing it down. So wherever, like I now have my phone and my iPad, right? Or sometimes I have my journal handy. So wherever it is possible, just write it down, even if it's a weak idea, because you never know. Sometime down the line, because maybe that weak idea needs to have a gestation period, right? Because it may grow, it may develop inside of your head, inside of your subconscious. Maybe it needs that few months, weeks, or years, and then that idea suddenly one fine day might pop up. Yeah, and it doesn't happen with all of them. It happens with us, maybe one of them. It's a rare thing, but it has happened to me too. So that's why I'm saying just record it. Doesn't hurt, right? But this is an idea that doesn't necessarily charge you up. That's what this is about. And yeah, if you're already sort of in a project and then this card comes up, it tells you that this is not necessarily gaining momentum. It's like, oh, you're feeling, yeah, I need to do this, right? I had this idea, I'm working on it. Maybe tomorrow, I'm not just feeling it today. That's your Ace of Wands reverse, right? And yes, Ace of Wands reverse can also talk about feeling low on energy, right? So if even if you are really motivated about a project or an idea or something like that, but there are those days where you just don't feel it. That's sometimes how the Ace of Wands can also pop up. Also, now since we were talking about the whole sexual thing, when the card was upright, let me just say, reverse, this card can show problems in that specific area. So bear that in mind. It can also show someone who is taking things to the extreme. So it's both ends of the spectrum really when this ace pops up. So you really need to tune in to your intuition to find out or to discover what aspect is being activated here. All right, so what was the story I got today? It's like, it was weird to get into, because there was no person there, but I was there, and here it was. I can feel the fire inside of me burning away, and yet I don't hurt. Rather, it charges me up. I'm full of so many ideas, and so many new concepts are taking shape inside of me. I think I need to write this down or I'll forget what it was. So that's typically how I am when the Ace of Wands shows up in my energy. And so this was my Ace of Wands story for this card. So what was your story like? What was your journal entry like? Feel free to take a picture of your journal, or, well, if you want to keep it private, maybe just take a picture of the card and post it on Facebook, post it on Instagram, post it on Twitter, post it on any of these social media platforms that you like. We use the hashtag learn this deck, and you could also use the hashtag Ace of Wands and hashtag Dreaming with Tarot, and if you like me, use the hashtag Tarotically Speaking. So this way what will happen is I can just do a search with the hashtag and I can find your posts, and then we can, share our stories with each other. This is an interesting way to do that, isn't it? So do that, okay? And let's online on the internet like this in a very interesting way. Let's learn this deck. All right. I will see you again tomorrow with the next card, which is obviously going to be Two of Wands. Duh. Okay. So see you tomorrow. Stay good, stay well, and learn this deck. Bye now.